Okay. Got it. That's good. You know, you guys know each other. Very good. Okay. So apparently we have 140 registered, I guess. Is that correct, Vandana? We have
158 now.
158. Okay. Wow. But where are they? It's 1 o'clock and they have not here yet. Got it. Okay, it's 1 o'clock now. Should we wait for another 5 minutes?
Sure.
Or what do you think, Vandana? Should we start or we just wait for a couple of minutes, Vandana?
I think we can start with the introduction so that when people join in,
All right.
we can have the real conversations happening.
Okay. So let's start then. Okay. All right. So Chandra udah direkam? Are you recording this? Okay, great. Okay. All right. Edric, can you just mute for a while? Okay, thank you so much. All right, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Tony Susila, co-founder of FoodStartup Indonesia and Chief Revenue Officer of Ultra. I will be your host of today's webinar about Future Food Asia 2022, the incredible potential of Indonesia in Agri Food Tech. This webinar will take around 60 minutes. In the first half of the webinar, we will hear our speakers discuss some related points. And in the second half of the webinar, we will have a live Q&A session between the participant and the speakers. During the webinar, kindly mute your microphone, open your cam, and respect the session. I sincerely hope all the participants will benefit from the session. Okay, this webinar is hosted by Ultra, a key partner with FSI, FoodStartup Indonesia, in collaboration with Future Food Asia, with the theme of the incredible potential of Indonesia in agri-food tech for food and agriculture entrepreneurs to learn about the opportunity to scale in Asia. The FFA is a platform to connect food and agriculture entrepreneurs with the right investors and partners for business growth. FFA Conference has been held since 2017 with the FFA awarding a prize of $100,000 to the top finalists. The FFA Conference has now become a leading competition for agri-food tech entrepreneurs. The 6th edition of the Future Food Asia Awards will be held in June 2022. Over the next few months, the FFA judges will select 10 startup finalists to compete for the $100,000 grand prize. The deadline for the application for the FFA award is the 1st April 2022. And further details, you can check the futurefoodasia.com/FFA 2022. So it's not about 2 weeks before the closing of the application. So you guys, if you are interested to joining the competition, I suggest you to be hurry. Okay. All right. Let's go further to the event itself. I would like to explain a bit more about today's webinar. Well, the Indonesian agri-food tech sector is quite exciting as the industry sees more startups and investor interest. We believe it is the right moment to discuss what might be in store for the industry in the coming years and what resources founders can use to leverage. As Indonesia's agri-food tech sector gains momentum, the discussion will provide attendees with an insight into the categories of innovations that are beginning to gather steam both in the country and regionally. As the ecosystem matures, it will highlight how it can learn from other tech sectors in Indonesia and the agri-food tech sector in other countries. We will hear some opinions from our reputable speakers here on some subjects discussion, such as the development of Indonesia food and agriculture sectors, open borders as the pandemic recedes, innovation in engaging startups, scaling up startups in Indonesia, and how can Ultra, FoodStartup Indonesia, and NF and FFA can boost the local startup ecosystem. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today to you. Please welcome Mr. Edric Chandra, SME and NSMI, DPN Apindo. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Bonnie.
Okay.
Nice to talk here.
All right, thank you for on board with us today. I would like to welcome Mr. Widya Putra, founder of Midless Kingdom. How are you, Mr. Widya Putra?
I'm good, Pak Boni. How are you?
All right, I'm good as well. Thank you.
Okay.
And last but not least, Ms. Vandana Dhaul, Chief Operating Officer of ID Capital. How are you, Ms. Vandana?
Doing very well, Moni, and thank you for setting this up.
Well,
Looking
thank
forward to
you so
some
much.
engaging
Yes.
conversations now.
Yeah, thank you for contacting us, and we are very excited to collaborate with you from now and the future. Okay, I would like to start the discussion on the first topic. I would like to ask all the speakers today, starting from Edric first, and then Vandana, and then Widya. So the question is, what has been, in your own opinion, the most defining development for Indonesia's food and agricultural sector in the past years? Mr. Edric,
Okay.
can you collaborate?
So at the beginning, actually, I've already prepared some materials to share to you guys. So maybe I'll answer several questions regarding to the main question. But the most important thing is like the purpose of this very cool activity that been held by Food Future Asia. It's needs to be highlighted more. So is it okay to for me to share some of the material that I'm going to present to you guys?
Sure.
Sure.
Can you give
Thank you so much.
admin to Edric? Yeah, I think
It's been done.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So, thank you very much, Bonnie. The headline that I'm going to choose is like the paradox in being a veteran. Actually, this material actually have been created especially for Future Food Asia. So hopefully this can give you guys a little bit information about what's happening now in Indonesia. Okay, so let me start this. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, cool. So I dedicated the last few years traveling around Indonesia to share stories with big companies, some startups, association, community, student, and SMEs. Actually, I tried quite hard to convince them that we could change our pattern at work. But every time I finish sharing, there are always people who come to me and they say, I'm inspired by what you are telling. Makes a lot of sense, but I can't. I can't because the government doesn't support. I can't because the environment doesn't support. I can't because I'm a villager. I can't because the staff and the boss want it so. I can't because I don't have access to Jakarta, or especially maybe like the central of Asia, Singapore, and many other reasons. Until there is a pandemic, and the pandemic changed everything. In the service industry, it is beginning to realize that wearing a mask, hand washing is important. We start working from home. We start learning virtually like this and learn anything because of situation that require us. All the things about innovation, flexibility, and creativity that we think we don't have, we have all that, and actually we can. Last year, I had the opportunity to visit Labuan Bajo and visit Dapur Tara Flores. Actually, it was recommended by Bonnie. They are specializing in traditional forest food with ingredients, mainly from their organic garden or from their surrounding farmers, using barter methods. Okay, and all food is prepared over open fire with love and smile. It's a soulful experience for me. Not many choose to go back to the root, conserve their ancestor ate. And the seeds were also planted there. It's a heirloom seed that have been saved and passed down for generations. I believe we can advance in applying technology while maintaining cultural wealth. From that moment, there are 3 questions to ponder. Okay, what is happening? What it means to live, well-being. Another experience, I was in Kampung Komodo. What I saw, it's really an eye-opening. The life there is really, really simple. Like if you want to eat, you have to grow your own food or fishing. But they live really, to me, they look really alive. Like if you want to eat beef, how? Look at their condition. I'm sure you guys, majority from developed area. If you want to eat beef, you just go to supermarket, right? But there, I really learned how it means to live. Also in here, I learned about climate change. This idea is quite vulnerable to climate change. You know, every full moon, new moon, the tide is high, right? That's kids say it's quite frightening, you know. Sometimes they play around, but actually they look worried. When I saw the kids' expression, okay, this is the climate change about. It is not political matters or scientific things. It's about people. And it's about our lifestyle affecting their lifestyle. So another 5 further questions to ponder. Okay. Are we responsible? What caused it? How do we fix this injustice? Is this word system is dysfunctional? Can we save our future? I like to borrow Paulo quotes. Paulo said that the world is changed by example, not by your opinion. Maybe you really want to help your community improve the environment and preserve culture. Fast forward, I've been helping social enterprises, social innovation. But one important thing that I want to share is how we live. This is probably the most important message I want to share you today. And that message is that maybe we have been taught or educated, or we all have been brainwashed to live in this logic. We do a lot of things, work, study, struggle to have money, good grade, car, family. So we will be happy, joyful, or peace. This logic probably not correct. It's probably not going to give you happiness in the end. And what you need to do is to bring the be up front. So be, do, have. When you're happy and alive, when you feel joy and motivated, you can really ask that question to yourself. If the be is really strong, the do will be strong as well. And you will earn something to have, income, place to stay. But there's nothing beyond this have, not happiness, because you should experience it up front. So this idea, be, do, have, we feel this very, very important. A new way of life, right mindset. So hopefully you guys can find your be. Thank you, Bonnie.
What an inspiring message from you, Edric. Okay, you certainly points a new way of thinking of how our business, or how should we develop the new business of the new sector on the agriculture and the food, mostly on a different approach. Thank you so much for that. So you see this kind of movement is actually happening in Indonesia, like you said, in Dapur Tara, right? Dapur Tara is,
Yep.
well, I'm a bit surprised as well, because she live in the rural areas, very remote, but we find that those kind of going back to the roots is actually to be the new directions of this agriculture and food industry. we can find new innovation on going back to the roots, and that will be a very different approach than the usual business. Thank you for sharing that, Edric. Vandana, yeah, what do you think about your opinion on the developing, the most defining development on Indonesia food and agriculture? Vandana, I think she's freezing. It's freezing. I think you are. Okay,
Yes,
while
I
we're
can
waiting.
use that is coming.
Oh. Okay. No, all right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there are lots of interesting startups that have raised huge amount of funding, like the likes of Happy Fresh, Aruna. And then there is this
Chris? Oh, so sorry. I think Vandana is being locked out. Yes. Okay. While we are.
no, I think I'm back in. There was
Oh, okay.
something.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just logged out. All right.
Yeah. So like I was saying, so there is the second generation of entrepreneurs now who are more focused on the lines that Edric mentioned, about how we are focusing on more regenerative ag. And so those are the exciting things that we are seeing on the outside of it. And I'm sure, Widya will have a lot to contribute in terms of this second generation that's bringing in more innovation. And it could be around, alternative proteins, food traceability, agri-biotech, which is also a lot of, interesting activities happening.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Vandana. Widya, can we have some of your
Yes.
opinion?
Okay. Yes. So.
Is it present? Widya, I think you're breaking up. Can you hear me? I think your signal is breaking up. Is it still freezing? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Widya, I think can we go back to you again later on? But I would like to move on and move on to Edric and Vandana again. So, yeah, Edric, how do you think that the opening up of the borders will shape the coming years? We see that this the corona wave is decreasing, right?
It's becoming an endemic right now, right?
Becoming an endemic, correct. And looking forward for the change. So what do you think about opening up the borders?
Okay, like for the past 2 years, like we believe that global is the way. I mean, like it's the way of Indonesia. I mean, like Indonesia way, go local. Because like at the beginning of the pandemic, like all the borders closed, right? So what we think actually, like it's quite a challenging moment if the borders open already. And the good thing actually, the opportunity that we have now, actually we have already ready enough to fight that condition, because for the past 2 years, the idiom of go local, like we believe that we produce a lot of things, we innovate a lot of process, it makes us stronger. So it's a very, very interesting moment to have here, as long that we can maintain the quality, the innovation upright. And what I learned actually, like the past 2 years, like everyone in Indonesia gained their confidence level. It's the most important things to have that kind of confidence level. Okay, like in terms of some research, I got it from Nielsen. I cannot share the research, but I can share the message. I mean, like the highlight message from you guys. Indonesia considered like one of the most, in terms of consumer perspectives, really confidence to spend more. That's the first thing. And the second one, with that kind of confidence level, and the past 2 years, we have already consume a lot of local product, I think it's going to be a huge game changer. That's the point.
Yeah. Pandemic is actually benefiting our national economy during this. Yeah, you brought a very interesting point. Widya, we're going back to you after this. I'm gonna finish this question to the Vandana first. So
Yes,
Vandana,
sure.
what do you think about the opening borders, especially in Singapore, perhaps on your perspective?
Yes, and I think it's going to be an exciting time. There's obviously going to be a lot of traveling, resuming of partnerships, business opportunities are going to open up. And I would like to say here that it's not just an Indonesia story, right? If this is something that you feel you can take across the border, then that's a platform that we have, and it just doesn't open up to a larger market, but it also opens up to a larger pool of investors. So there's going to be definitely a ripple effect that the opening of borders is going to have, and it's going to be exciting to be able to be a part of that.
Okay, but Vandana, is Singapore as a country? I know that you're taking a lot of innovation on the food and agri-tech, right? I mean, you guys get a lot of startups coming from all across the world before the pandemic. I don't know when the pandemic strikes. Are these startups is still on Singapore, or are they leaving Singapore, or are you gonna take more startups coming to be innovating, to be cultivated in Singapore?
The idea has always been to have more startups able to travel into Singapore, incorporate in Singapore, use Singapore as their first market, launch into Southeast Asia from there. Obviously, the disruption in travel has pushed back some of those efforts, but we're seeing now that there is renewed interest in coming into Singapore. So I guess the next 6 months will be a good enough time to be able to decide whether all of that activity has resumed, or there is still little cautiousness about wanting to come into the region. Business, however, has continued to develop. So we've switched from being an in-person program to virtual programs, and it's just going to get probably faster with travel opening up.
Great. Good news to hear. Okay, thank you, Vandana. Widya, going back to you again on the first question, what is your opinion on the most defining development for the Indonesia food and agriculture sector?
Okay, yeah, thank you once again. Yeah, okay, my sound is clear right now, right?
Now it's clear.
Yeah, okay, so I will bring a different point of view because I'm a food startup, and I would say in the development of foods, we also have many innovation products in Indonesia. You can name it, for instance, BioPack. They are like biodegradable, like packaging that we can eat it, and Rosalis cheese, and many more, I would say. And I also see there are some food competitions that have been held by government and also private companies. Indonesia, held by Ultra Indonesia, collaborate with Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. Indonesia Food Innovation, held by Ministry of Industry, and also, of course, Diplomat Success Challenge. Also, I think it's very good for us to challenge our idea. And from agriculture sector, I saw also some IoT startups such as like Habibi Garden or e-commerce, like to sell the products or agriculture products such as like Tani Hub, Eden Farm, and many more. So to conclude, my point of view is I think this is the best time for us as food startup or agriculture startup to start our business, because the ecosystem already support us, right? That's all from me.
Yeah, so you're saying that our government or the ecosystem in Indonesia is actually supporting you guys as in the food tech technology, right? Still on you, I would like to ask you more to the food tech startup, as you are in the food tech startup, right? So what do you think in Indonesia, because Indonesia is not really heavy like in Singapore, right? Singapore are a lot of startups that are working on the food tech. Indonesia is not so much. Okay, so but what do you see, Widya? Well, do you think we should increase as Indonesian, increase more startups to work on the food tech rather than to any other sector? Or how, and what do you suggest? How do we approach this, inspire or these young entrepreneurs, to work on the food tech or on the agri tech? How do you see this?
Yeah, actually, as far as I know, in university also in Indonesia university, there are a lot of like food technology students, right? But then, yeah, in reality, there are still quite a few, as Pak Boni said, quite a few startup in food technology. But I think in the future there will be more and more food tech startup in Indonesia, because for instance, like Future Food Asia also, this is encourage food technology students to think creatively or make a kind of like innovative products in order to join the competition or any competitions. And of course, I think in my perspective, I would say we also need to collaborate each other. I mean, with Singapore startup, because we also want to learn from them, and they also want our market in Indonesia. I think this kind of like mutualism each other. So in the future, it will be very nice to collaborate each other.
Thank you, Widya. Edric, you've been working a lot with a lot of young startups, right? Young entrepreneurs. You've been to universities, promoting this kind of innovation, not so much in the food and agriculture, but still in an innovation related area. But what do you think we should do to increase the number of food tech or agri-tech startups in Indonesia?
Okay, so what is the most important thing is for them to understand more why. I mean, like, the clarity of why is really important, why they start this kind of business. For some, that's why I promote like B to have frameworks to you guys today. Because like actually when we talk about sustainability, like we work for our planet, right? Correct. I mean, like people profit planet is actually it's a real things to do now, especially several years ahead. I think the carbon market, in terms of carbon emission market, will be very, very important for us to understand about it, because like there's a real problem here. For instance, like for the carbon emission, the waste of the food actually is one of the highest contributor. Meat, yes, one of the highest contributor. That's why like Widya create Meatless Kingdom. It's very, very genuinely will be save our earth if more people like Widya which has good vision for our planet, it's being incubated. So the most important thing is like we need to send the message that climate change is real, and then like how our tech, the food startup in terms of developing their innovation, really able to solve our previous generation problem. That's the point.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Edric. I'm also curious in Singapore, Vandana. Like you guys can, a lot of startups is going to the Singapore, to be incubated there. What we don't have in the ecosystem, like what are the Indonesian doesn't have in Singapore? Is it the government regulation that supports and nurture the food tech in Singapore rather than in Indonesia? Do you see our weakness in here? So I would like to hear from you, Vandana, about this.
Sure. I wouldn't say it's a weakness. I would just say that it's a larger country, and there is obviously more potential. Singapore, yes, was probably one of the early movers in setting up all of the facilities, in providing grants. There is a bit of an advantage to that, but we're also seeing a lot of interest from Indonesian startups who now want to come to Singapore. And that probably is going to be where we would be best, able to support in terms of facilitating introductions, connections, and obviously inviting startups to apply for the FFA, award. So I think it's just a matter of time, Bonnie, before we see that similar kind of, initiatives and a larger number of both food tech and agri-tech innovations coming out of Indonesia.
It's just a matter of time. You believe that it's going to be happen. Well, that's assuring, because I see we still in the, because we are big in the more to the food commerce rather than to the food tech. I think Edric will agree with me. We are more to the commercial side rather than the innovation. But this year team of FoodStartup Indonesia, we all also agree that planet, people, profit should be the most basic theme in every business on the responsible business, whatever the business are. Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to the fourth question, the fourth topics, I would like to ask Vandana and then to Widya. In South Asia, in particular, it has become an exciting market for mature food tech startups to export their innovation. So what do you see in Indonesia that is scalable and has applications outside Indonesia? So what are you looking in Indonesia, Vandana, in particular, that can be scalable and applications outside Indonesia?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not just about a regional or a specific location story anymore. If you have technology that has applications, then Asia pretty much offers a large market. Singapore offers an easy access to that market. And if you're looking at specific technology, we're seeing some interesting innovation in alternate protein, exciting developments in digital agriculture. So those two would probably be the highlights that are coming out of Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. Widya?
Yeah, I think Indonesia, I'm optimist actually. Indonesia has big opportunities since we are a rich country for resources, and some of the resources even can just be planted in a tropical country like Indonesia. And then I think this is our advantage. And of course, we need to make the value of the resource that we have in Indonesia, because some of them, yeah, I agree also to Pak Boni said we are more food commerce, but I think since I joined many competitions, and I also talk with a lot of food startups, and I see, yeah, we are on the way there. And yeah, I'm also agree with Vandana talk, like this is the matter of time. Indonesia will become a leader too.
Thank you. Edric, do you want to add more on this discussion subject?
Okay, I'm going to share a little bit of data. So it's easier to share, to talk about data, right? So first of all, in the word, like focus attribute that matter most to consumer now in terms of health and hygiene, like the increase of fresh protein, hygiene, the nutritional benefits and healthier options, it's rise quite high, around 26%, plus 25 by index, plus 26 by index, in average plus 20. But in Indonesia, the data shows that the needs, yeah, what our consumer wants more, plus by 42. So it means, Indonesian market need more fresh product, more hygiene claims, nutritional benefit, and healthier option. So actually, it's a huge opportunity. What we have been agreed is actually before the pandemic, we are too focused on food commercial, right? But now the wave is huge, so we just need to ride it and facilitate that. So it's going to be cool, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. I agree that we are a very consuming nation, I guess. Okay, Vandana, to the last discussion before we go to the Q&A. So what do you think from FFA, in the future can help to boost our local startup ecosystem? How do you see we can do the collaboration for the longer period?
Sure. No, I'm excited to have this conversation here, Bonnie. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Future Food Asia platform, it's dedicated to fostering startup-driven innovations and bringing more sustainability to the food system in the Asia Pacific region. And like both Edric and Widya mentioned, there is this whole initiative to eat healthier, grow better. And these are the kind of innovations that we would definitely be able to support, not just through an FFA award application where there is only one winner, and that is the way it is with competitions. But if you do apply, then you are in our radar for a lot many other add-on and value-added activities. So we do work with a large number of corporates. For FFA this year, we have Cargill, we have Dole Sunshine, we have Taiwa as sponsors. And this is just a few of the ones that we work with. So, the application process also facilitates an entry into a lot many more conversations that can happen. And that's where I feel that, this sort of collaboration can add a lot of value in terms of not just expediting the whole process, but being able to also identify specific challenges that a food startup Indonesia and Ultra would be able to share with us and possibly work on solutions together.
Yeah, looking forward for that. For the cooperation, I think we can do a lot of improvement on the ecosystem itself, right? So we can continue continue to supply you all the data that you might need, and I think you also mentioned that you are accepting feedback from us outside the competition, so it will benefiting for both of the countries here. Okay, thank you so much, Vandana, and I hope we can have more in the field programs in the near future, perhaps more to the sort of like a scaling up session, informal or formally. I think we can discuss more and we can collaborate more on that. Okay, Edric, what do you think about you've been in FoodStartup Indonesia, you've been in BSC, right? So what are we missing in here to boost the local ecosystem?
Maybe it's the right time for ID Capital to open a branch in Indonesia. Because last year you guys opened in China, right? I'm sorry. I'm in the labor association, APindo, Asosiasi Pengusaha Indonesia. Basically, Bonnie actually could, in my opinion, already gather all the key partners, right, in Indonesia. He can connect the dot. That's the main point. And we just need, that's why at the beginning of the presentation, I would like to promote you about Indonesia. So maybe this is the right time for ID Capital to come to Indonesia. That's the point, bro.
Hey, that's a formal invitation to ID Capital, Vandana. That's not come from me, but that's come from Edric, yeah? Okay.
Thank you, Edric, and I'm sure we're going to have continuing conversations after this webinar as well.
Great. Looking forward to. Widya, what do you think? Should we not have more competition on our ecosystem, or build more accelerator or incubators in Indonesia, focuses on the food tech, or should we encourage all the universities that they are working with these scholars, right? But I see a lot of innovation just on paper, not in the commercial side, right? And
It's true.
that's not good. That's not good in the university. We have a lot of universities in Indonesia, a lot of food science schools in Indonesia, but but not much happening on the innovation side. So what do you think?
Yeah, so to add from Pak Edric, yeah, I think maybe in the next future, Vandana and team make future food Indonesia, not like exclusive for Indonesian startup, because what I see, why is also still a view food technology in Indonesia, because the exposure about this kind of startup is still not too much. As you can see, like in the past, like 10 years or 1 decade ago, since Tokopedia, Shopee, Bukalapak becomes popular, like more and more people make e-commerce in many things. I mean, not only all things, but yeah, you can name it. I mean, everything related about the e-commerce or tech startup, because they already some successful startup, I would say, that can, as a leader or to motivate young generation, millennial or even Z generation, to be to more concerned about how we can give solution to this food and also agriculture sector. So this is what I can say.
Thank you, Widya. You brought a very good point. Okay, thank you so much for the point discussed today, and I think we still have time to take Q&A, I guess, from the audience. We can take about 3 questions from the audience. If anyone from the attendee would like to ask one of the speakers or all of them, that will be okay for us. Okay, we have Pak Dodi Hidayat. How are you, Pak Dodi Hidayat? Can you unmute? Sorry, Pak Dodi, can you unmute or Chandra?
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to join this meeting. Pak Boni, apa kabar?
I'm good, Pak Dodi. How are you, Pak?
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm good. Here I represent my startup company, Manjuga Startup Company as CMO. Please Googling Kaluku Agtech to know more about our startup. So for your information, I was fully attend on FFA 2018, from dinner gathering to the main event at Metric Auditorium, Metric Auditorium Biopolis, kalau nggak salah ya. And I was also visiting Dr. Juan at NUS Food Science of Technology by your official committee recommendation at that time. And Pak Boni adalah my favorite mentor during the FSI 2017. So I bet achievement the best 10 FSI 2017. Pak Boni can recommend this. I don't have any specific question, but I wonder if FFA 2020 how we can get involved to be the participant there. Maybe there's a clue or key, something that we can preparing before registering or something like that.
Vandana, can you?
Okay, sure. So there are 2 parts to be able to participate in the conference. As a startup, you can definitely apply for the FFA award. The applications are open till the 1st of April. If you have had a look at the application and there is some part that you need help with, do drop us a line. We'd be happy to help with that. The awards are followed by the FFA conference, which is going to be taking place as a hybrid event this year. So in Singapore on the 7th of June as an in-person event, followed by 2 days of virtual conference. And some of the topics that we spoke about in terms of, alternate protein, circular economy, carbon, all of these would be definitely covered in the conference as well. So we would be opening the registration for the conference soon. and you could definitely participate there as well.
Okay.
Is that
Thank
answering
you.
your question, Dodi?
Yes,
already?
yes,
Yes.
that's good. That's
All
good.
right.
Thank you, Vandana. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Dodi. I think I have Mr. Aditya Anand. You were raising your hand before?
Yes,
Yes. Would you like to add some?
yes. Hello, everyone. So
Hi.
myself, Adityanand from India. I am basically third year mechanical engineering student. I am doing my startup in second year in agri-tech domain. So we are Sacco Agri Private Limited, and we are doing the startups in the supply chain traceability. And I'm happy to connect with the startups in Indonesia because the conditions of the both Indonesian and the Indian market is much similar. We have very big, huge opportunities of startups, and most of the startups in Indonesia, like Hyra Tokens and a few others, are doing means outstanding work to helping the marginal farmers to do more and more to come across to the global platform and have to get the more profit margins. And I would like to add this: the question is that I'm lagging in my technology, so build technology and how to get help in developing the supply chain blockchain technology, so that the better uh, smooth working of our startup. So happy to connect, and I want to know the answers how to select the technology partners and build the technology so it will help the supply chain traceability for the longer run in the market, diverse market like in Indonesia, we can also say, and India is also there.
Okay, thank you. I think you can send your deck to me. I would like to know more about your startup and the technology behind it. I would love to connect you with some ecosystem in here if you don't mind. But let me digest your startup, and if you can send me the deck and something that we can learn and study beforehand, and we can set up a different session after this. Is that okay, Anand?
Okay, so yeah, could you share me your email ID so I can
Yeah,
connect
sure.
our LinkedIn profile so that I
Yeah. I'll check. I'll text my email now on chat. Or would you like to add Edric as well? Edric, your email, maybe you would like to know more. Yeah, got it. Thank you. Any other question from the audience?
thank you, everyone.
Yes, no worries, Anand. Looking forward to. Is there any other? I think there's one. Hang on. Oh no. Okay. So no more questions.
I think you should harus dibuka boleh tanya dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Oh,
Boleh.
okay.
Mungkin.
Yes. Correct. Vandana, I would like to ask your permission for them to ask in Indonesia, and maybe I can translate that to you guys.
Absolutely.
Ya, kalau ada yang mau bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia, feel free, no worries. Nanti kita yang translate ke bahasa Inggris. Jangan sungkan. Ada yang mau tanya? Pak Dodi udah kan ya tadi ya? Okay, got it. I don't see anyone else raising hand. Okay, I think belum ada. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions now, you can email us. I think Edric, me, and Vandana already put our emails. You can ask us later on. Hang on, there's Pak Aryo Agung Bainardi on the chat. Oh, okay. There's a question on the chat. Vandana, could you help me answering this from the VC perspective?
Good.
Yes, correct. Maybe Edric as well. Thank you.
Yeah. I think from a VC perspective, there is a lot of investment that's happening in food tech. And like I said earlier, we're seeing it increase now. It's not a short term, it's not a hype, because most investment is made after really diving deep into what is the potential to grow. So I don't think it's a hype. Currently, of course, a large part of that has gone into the e-commerce, the deliveries, because those were the ones that were probably started faster and are seeing more growth. But we are seeing a lot in terms of specific food innovation as well that is getting funded.
Thank you. Edric, can you add
Add a little
more?
bit. Okay, in terms of trying, in terms of VC's perspective, what we look for actually is have to be combined. I mean, like the technology is being built to make everything more efficient, more productive, and then like to disrupt some problems appear for our planet. Okay, it's a long run process. It's a marathon. Yet, what is the most important thing, like how you guys still preserve the culture. I do remember like one of the chicken rice in Singapore, kue putu. If I'm not mistaken, I forgot the brand, but they always preserve their culture. For instance, like maybe in Indonesia, we could bring nasi Madura, go to the world, for instance, or rawon. Some of my friends actually ship keripik singkong to Singapore quite a lot because when the first pandemic appeared, like they cannot go back to Indonesia, but they want rendang and singkong, keripik singkong. They ship a lot to Singapore. So what is the most important thing for me? Subjective matters. It's how you guys preserve the culture and add on the technology.
Okay, thank you. Preserve the culture using the technology. That's an interesting point, Edric. But don't push it too much. I don't think anyone would like to enjoy our rawon outside Indonesia. Anyway, okay. I hope it's clear for Aryo Agung Winardi. Widya, do you want to add on the question?
No, I think that's all clear. Maybe another question.
Okay, so anyone else would like to have another question? Oh, Ibu Nur Hayati. Halo Ibu.
Halo.
Hai.
Selamat siang Pak Boni.
Siang Ibu.
Saya sering live-nya Pak Boni di IG loh.
Ya, oke Bu.
Ya, saya juga sudah pernah daftar FSI sudah 2 kali, belum beruntung bagi saya, tapi saya enggak patah semangat Pak. Ini saya mau ikut lagi yang ketiga kali, semoga yang ketiga ini saya bisa lolos.
Baik Bu, kalau nggak lolos salahkan Pak Edric ya Bu ya, karena dia yang kita.
Usaha saya di bidang labu kuning Pak Boni.
Labu kuning, oke. Ya, bagaimana labunya diapain Ibu?
Dibuat macam-macam produk Pak. Untuk yang saat ini saya fokus dibuat untuk tepung labu Pak.
Tepung labu, oke.
Kenapa saya buat dalam bentuk tepung? Karena kalau dibuat tepung itu semakin banyak labu segar yang bisa saya beli dari petani Pak. Sehingga dalam ini saya juga tidak hanya mementingkan kepentingan saya, tapi saya juga ingin membantu petaninya untuk lebih mudah memasarkan hasil pertaniannya. Di sini saya masukan dari Pak Edric juga Pak Boni, bagaimana ke depannya saya bisa mengembangkan tepung labu ini Pak, bukan hanya skala lokal lah, untuk skala internasional kita ingin semakin berkembang untuk kedepannya Pak. Saya minta saran dari Pak Boni juga Pak Edric.
Okay, thank you Bu Nur. I would like to translate the question from Ibu Nur to Vandana. Ibu Nur is working on pumpkin powder, yellow pumpkin. She took it from the farmers and then converted into powder base from the pumpkin powder. So it can be, as an intermediate product, can be applied to any other end products in here. She would like to ask how to, scale up their business and more to the powder-based business. So, Pak Edric, can you answer that in bahasa or in English? Bu Nur, apakah kita bisa jawab dalam bahasa Inggris? Boleh? Ibu lebih convenient di bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia?
Bisa saja, Pak.
Baik, oke, baik. I'll translate you, Pak Edric. You
Oke.
in English.
Gak bahasa Indonesia aja juga nggak apa-apa sih.
Iya, ini
So, nanti Pak Bodi yang translate tuh Vandana.
Oke, I'll translate to Vandana.
Yang pertama, kandungan dari lampu kuning tuh saya ingat banget, maksudnya ada salah satu startup yang pernah masuk di DSC juga, mereka angkat yang namanya kandungan awalnya dari lampu kuning. Lampu kuning itu kan high karbohidrat, terus kemudian serat, terus kemudian proteinnya juga ada, gitu kan, di luar dari semua vitamin yang ada gitu. Nah, kembali lagi ketika menjadi sebuah powder yang harus, ini masukkan dulu ya Bu, yang pertama.
Iya.
Saat dijadikan powder itu apakah sudah pernah diukur kandungannya turun atau tidak? Seperti itu. Karena kita tahu bersama bahwa yang namanya lampu kuning itu yang pertama itu tren waktu kita Lebaran, dijadiin kolak kan sebenarnya kan, yang namanya lampu kuning. Once ketika sudah jadi powder, apakah kandungan yang lebih menonjol itu adalah perasanya, dalam arti rasa manisnya tetap ada, atau yang kedua dari tepung pumpkin itu sendiri, tepung labu kuning itu sendiri, itu bisa diolah menjadi apa? Apakah teksturnya akan berubah, bisa menggantikan tepung tapioka pada umumnya gitu kan? Apakah mereka rendah sugar atau gluten free gitu misalkan contoh. Itu yang menjadi sangat penting untuk dicek. Mungkin tantangan pertama itu adalah coba dicek terlebih dahulu khasiatnya apa, begitu kan? Dari situ ketika dijadikan powder, what's happen? Apakah ada perubahan atau tidak? Itu mungkin justru masukan saya terlebih dahulu.
Okay, thank you, Pak Edric. I would like to translate this first before Bu Nur continue to answer. So Vandana, Edric is suggesting to Ibu Nur that the pumpkin powder should be checked if the nutrition or the taste is altered when it becomes powder, and what kind, and the powder can be, manufactured into what. So he would like to analyze before he can suggest more to the business side. But I don't think we should do the business consultation in this forum, because Bu Nur, I think you should be focusing on the, Bu Nur, mungkin nanti pertanyaannya bisa diteruskan lewat email saja ke Pak Edric. I would like to, nanti saya di email juga, nanti saya juga akan input nanti Ibu personally lewat email juga di situ ya. How do we help you to scale up the business itself? Is that okay, Bu Nur? Apa-apa ya?
Ini baik, terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Thank you so much. So I guess it's almost 1 o'clock now. I think we are kind of running out of time. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to wrap up the session from today's webinar, and I think we can summarize that all that matter for now is the innovation and how the agriculture and food technology could influence people's life. We and all Indonesian food tech startups have done a lot of innovation in so many ways that government can support, and to grow the ecosystem. And we have the supportive ecosystem now. So I think it's more to the time to make a move and moving forward on this. And as Vandana said, that it's just a matter of time before we can catch up with Singapore. To increase the number of the food tech innovation, the clarity of why is the first step, as Pak Edric said. And sustainability is the answer. Planet, people, profit are real things, real problems, which needs to be handled with our innovation. And also, as a tropical country, we have advantages and challenges to value our resources. Indonesia is definitely larger, one of the larger country in the Southeast Asia, and it's not weakness; it's a bigger potential, as Vandana say. And so it's just again matter of time. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your time and insight, Mr. Edric, Ms. Vandana, and Mr. Widya. It has been a very precious and insightful discussions. Thank you to our wonderful audience today. We wish you the best in your future endeavor. Stay safe, guys. Ciao, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, Vandana.